Cool. This week, we're going from moderation to mediation. Mediation is different. If you remember, moderation is one variable's impact on the relationship between two variables. Mediators are actually variables that are predicted by your independent variable and thus predict the outcome on the dependent variable in addition to the relationship between the predictor and the outcome variable. So it's not affecting the relationship, it's creating a new relationship between variables. Does it make sense, y'all? So generally there's two different ways to think about this: full mediation and partial mediation. Full means that when you introduce a mediator into a model, the original predictor actually has zero influence on the outcome, whereas before it did. And so we don't see those too often, but when we do, they're kind of special. Partial mediation is what we work with a lot. And so you'll probably see examples of partial mediation in this class. The main four conditions of mediation are: number one, your predictor variable should predict the outcome of the outcome variable, right? And that's like, in the very initial simplified model. The other conditions that are important to know are that when you introduce the mediator variable, the predictor, the original predictor, must significantly predict the mediator, right? So in this example, socioeconomic status should predict parental education levels. So let's just say higher socioeconomic status generally means that parents have higher levels of education. That's a significant prediction of path A. Path B is also a requirement that the mediator must significantly predict the outcome. So higher education levels of parents should also predict higher reading ability in students, right? And then lastly, once we've established that path A predicts mediator, path B predicts outcome, we should see that initial model one, the strength of that relationship between socioeconomic status and a child's reading ability should be reduced when we introduce a mediator. Okay? What that means is if the beta coefficients for socioeconomic status on child's reading ability were a 0.5, I think I gave the same example before. I haven't forgotten it yet, but 0.5 is the coefficient value for socioeconomic status on child reading ability alone. When you introduce the mediator, that relationship between socioeconomic status and child reading ability should go down, maybe to like 0.3 or 0.2, right? The value of the coefficient should be reduced. Does that make sense, Sean? And welcome, Chris. I was just kind of going through what we went through before for the sake of recording and for Momta's sake as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so let me kick off the slideshow. All right, so in SPSS, under the process tool, one thing I definitely want to focus on here, because this is point and click, right? You have to be able to do this to be able to get what you need out. Under the options menu, you need to show the total effect of the model. And trust me, we're all used to going to the options menu, right? Can we agree on that? Right? We all go to the options menu when we use a particular, test or whatever. Let this also be a reminder that the simple mediator model that we're going to use in SPSS is called model 4. Okay, you see here, show total effect model only for models 4, 6, 80, 81, 82. I don't need you to remember anything else except model 4. Okay, I promise this will make sense here in a second. So, and I generally generate code, a lot of test for X by types of interactions. All right. So again, we want to make sure that we are predicting reading ability, right? That we are predicting parent level of education, all those things come into play with mediators. I threw this SPSS screenshot in because I really don't have anywhere to put it here. So, all right, let's go through an example in SPSS. And I've got the example file and I will email it to you all in just a second. But the question is, do health-related behaviors mediate the relationship between a conscientious personality trait and overall physical health? What does conscientious personality mean?
Type A. I'm just kidding.
Might
I don't
be.
know. I mean, that could mean a lot of things. That's subjective, right?
Well, remember last week I had y'all measure someone's level of agreeableness, right? Yeah, that's one of the personality. These are the 5 main personality traits that we all exhibit some form or fashion of. Some people are really high in agreeableness and lower in extroversion, whatever, right? So in terms of, remember how we talked about latent variables and factor analysis, right? You measure all 5 of these separately and they make up your personality, right? Your overall personality, right? So agreeableness is one, conscientiousness is another, extroversion, neuroticism, and openness. I'm very high on conscientiousness as a person. That is driven, like your drive, your need to be doing things, all that kind of stuff. So thinking about that, there have been a lot of studies that look at your personality and your physical health. And one example of how we measure this is looking at, the more someone falls into this conscientious area of personality, the higher levels they exhibit there, does that predict their physical health, right? My best friend actually was like one of the first people that told me this. He's like, because you're so driven in every other way, like you tend to just push yourself, even when it's like 20 degrees outside, you go for a run, right? Chris, you said no to that? No idea.
A resounding no. That's my polite way of saying it, but go ahead.
Yeah. So this is, again, just one of these personalities, but the way we model, again, mediation, right? Let's take a look at someone's measure of their conscientious personality and ensure that it predicts their physical health, right? Their overall physical health. That's step 1. But then we're bringing in the mediator. It's going to happen probably more than once. And we need to ensure that the personality traits predict our health-related behaviors, and that our health-related behaviors also predict our physical health, right? I'm not saying anything kind of too Greek, am I? Okay. So as a reminder, the 4 main things we have to meet to have an effective mediation model is that conscientious personality must significantly predict physical health, and it also must significantly predict health-related behaviors. And then the health-related behaviors must significantly predict physical health, and the relationship between personality or conscientious personality and physical health should be reduced when you introduce the mediating variable. Okay? Sound good?
Hold on just 1 second. I'm just looking at it from the I'm trying to see that drawing with the arrows from the previous slide. That one. No, yes, that one. Path A. Okay, so go back to it. So path A is the up arrow on the left. Path B is the right arrow there. And then you've got your predictor and outcomes there.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Same thing, just not as, sorry, not as much color. Kind of drab today. Kara. I can't hear you, Kara.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm talking to my dog who is barking in the background, so just ignore me.
All right, no worries. So let's do it, right? Let's map this out, okay? So coming into our variables. So this is conscientiousness. It's the personality trait for conscientiousness, behavior, and health, right? Very simple. Don't worry about what the values mean. They're just measures of scales. Okay, lots of measures here. About 491, I think. Yeah, 491. So remind me, we are looking at conscientiousness, health-related behaviors, and physical health. When you're putting together a mediation model, we do the same way in process, okay? But remember, I told you before, the model number matters here. It's a simple mediation model, so we have to select model number 4. Okay, do you see what I mean now? Under options, we'll again show the total effect model for model 4. That's our reminder. I'm using the same selections we've done before. 1 standard deviation below, 1 above, only continuous and always, right? But the big thing here is this, show total effect model. That's what you have to have in order to make sense of this, okay? And health is our outcome, right? Physical health is our outcome. There it is. The predictor variables are personality traits, right? So conscientious personality. And then our health-related behaviors is the mediator. Mediators must be continuous variables. Okay. Who's ready for me to hit run? Nobody?
You froze one time or two. So what did you just say?
Yeah, the sound sound.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm not on my phone today. My laptop audio card just came back to life today. So how about that? Can you hear me okay?
So the last question you asked was, who's ready for what now?
April Fools.
Oh, April Fools.
I'm joking. Yeah. All right. How about this, y'all? For the sake of hearing me, I'll switch to phone audio. Okay. Give me 1 second. Welcome to Zoom.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID. To the tone, please record your name. When you enter, you are in the meeting now. There are 4 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Good. All right, better? Cool. All right, so in case you didn't hear me before, I said because we're doing a simple mediation model, we must select model number 4 from the menu. Okay.
Wait, I don't
Under
understand that part. I'm sorry.
Okay. Remember this, right?
Okay,
There.
okay.
Under the options, it says show total effect model. And I said you have to select that, and it's only for models 4, 6, 8, 80, 81, and 82. The simple mediation model is model 4 for process.
Okay.
So that's where that comes in. We need to, when we're here, we need to pull down this menu and select number 4. Okay. and also go to options and click on show total effect model. Okay. All other things are similar as what we did in moderation. Behavior is our mediator, our health-related behaviors. Our personality, conscientiousness is the predictor, and the Y variable outcome is our health, overall health measurement. Okay. Hit OK, and give it a sec. Or a couple of seconds. And while that's happening, I will pull this file off.
I have a quick question.
And while no one has questions, so I'll just hang tight for a second. No, go ahead, Kara. I'm messing with you.
On the output, there's a p-value for the model, and then we get p-values for each of the variables and the interaction. And are we more focused on the ones for the interaction or the one for the model? Or do we like them all? And what if they disagree?
Al, have you already seen this output?
No, I've started working on other things.
Okay. Okay. Well,
If you're going to address
take
it,
a look
I'll
at
just be quiet. Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, no. So I thought maybe I was like, well, has she already done this? Maybe I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, then let's do some split screens. Okay. There we go. So the way we interpret this output, there's a lot of output here, y'all. Okay. It's easy to get lost. So I thought the best way to do it would be to kind of map it for you. I'm just gonna have to move all down here. All right. Ready? Who likes lines and
Thank
arrows?
you.
All right. So remember, the first thing we want to do is basically fill in our model. We have to describe the model, right? And generally that means assigning values to these arrows, right? We have to understand the strength of these relationships, okay? So in order to do that, we're going to try to find these values, right? I've gone ahead and filled them in for you. But let me give you the full rundown here, okay? So it doesn't actually produce an output in the same way that we talk about it. That's the frustrating thing to me a lot of times, okay? So Chris would probably say, all right, logically, the measure of conscientious personality up against health-related behavior should come first, right? Well done. just be aware of that. You know, and all this, I mean, all of these are kind of in different places. So let's get oriented to the output. First thing you need to make sure of is your Y, your X, and your mediator are all correctly assigned. Make sense? Okay, are they correctly assigned? Next, what you want to do, and I know most of the time we are always looking at the R square value, right? We're always looking at R square. Not so much today. Not so much today. We still need to look at p-values. They are important. So the first thing you need to do is orient yourself to what the outcome variable is, because each of these are different steps in the model. So here we have the outcome is behaviors. Outcome is behaviors, right? Notice how the predictor is, what is that predictor?
That's conscientiousness.
What's that, Chris?
The conscientious personality.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's our coefficient, right? It is statistically significant. Do you see that? Good to know. 0.52, 0.52, right? Okay. Next, our outcome is health, overall health. And notice now that this is the part that I lied a little bit. This one is first, but when you get to the next output, the next section of output, it's not what you think it is, okay? So initially you might think this is conscious personality going to health-related behaviors, right? And then this 0.39 right here, see the 0.39? That does say health-related behaviors to physical health. Well, remember, the outcome variable here, and this is why it's so important to get oriented to your output, the outcome variable is health. So both of the coefficients here are the measures of the strength of the relationship from whatever predictor it is on health, okay? So this personality is not personality on behavior. That's up here. This is personality on physical health. So notice how we've got 0.26, right? 0.26. And then behavior on health is 0.389. So I brought in 0.39. Everybody see that? Okay. Again, both of these relationships are statistically significant. So every measure of the relationship is statistically significant. Next, now, let's see. Okay. Boom, boom. Sorry, I'm making sure I say everything I need to say. Here, okay, sorry. Y'all probably see me scrolling everywhere. So now what we have is both predictors, or the mediator and the predictor on overall health. Now what we're doing is we're going into the total effect of the model. And this is what we would expect if we did not include the mediator, okay? Make sense?
Oh, hold on. Well,
Yep.
hold on, because you got moderation on the, you have moderation on the slide.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, wait a minute, okay, wait. And then you're saying mediator, and I'm like, I swear we're on mediator. Okay, cool. I'm there. I'm going back with you.
April Fool's.
That's a good one. That's tomorrow.
Oh no, your test is tomorrow. Don't forget, it closes tomorrow, y'all.
Mom says you missed the whole April Fool's primer we got.
What April Fool's primer?
I'm saying the whole conversation. I'm talking to Mom to missing the first little bit of your rundown on April Fool's. Go ahead, carry on. Don't let me derail you.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay. Just don't forget your test tomorrow, okay, y'all? All right, so now that we have the coefficient for personality on behaviors and the coefficient for behaviors on physical health, we also have this combined, based on this mediator, right? The health outcome, the mediator included in the relationship shows that personality on health, when you include the mediator, right? You see this? Personality on health, when you include the mediator, has a coefficient of 0.26, right? That's this one. Coming down to the total effect model, notice how there is no mediator listed here. It's just personality on health. This is why we put in parentheses that the initial model, if there was no mediator, the coefficient would be 0.47. Is that higher or lower than the coefficient with the mediator?
So it's higher, right? Yes,
Y'all tell me.
I would say it 0.47 is more than 0.26.
Okay, and what are we looking for?
Yeah, less strongly than model 1. Right, I was gonna say, so that's disproving the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, the relation, well, or at least the relationship is diminished between the predictor and the outcome. Model 2, okay?
Wait. Diminished. Model 2 is in the, I'm sorry, I have hiccups. Model 2 is there in, it's 0.47.
Model 2 is
0.26. Okay, wait a minute. And so go back to model, it should.
The total effect model is your model 1 with just the predictor and the outcome.
Okay.
Okay.
Model 1.47.
Yep, say it out loud, everybody. Total effect model is model 1.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Yep, write it down. Okay, so yes, we meet that criteria because the relationship or the coefficient is reduced, right? Is everybody okay for me moving away from this slide? Let's write up our results. Okay. And then just a little bit better. Is that better? And I sent you the data, by the way. Sent you the data. All right. So there was a significant indirect effect of consciousness, personality, on overall physical health through health-related behaviors. There's an indirect effect, right? Everybody, get your arrows going, right? Motion of the ocean. Okay. Here's what we need to do. We need to report the indirect effect of X on Y, which you'll remember right, was this, oh, there it is. I'm the total effect model, right? Trying to find it now over here for y'all. Total direct, indirect. There it is. The indirect effects of X on Y. Okay, so now we're looking somewhere else, right? Before we were here at the total effect model, but now when we write it up, we are including this indirect effect of behavior on health outcomes. And that's measured as 0.2050, right? You see it on both sides here. And we also, because this is statistics, we have to report confidence intervals, right? And the important thing to know here, the confidence intervals of 0.15 to 0.26, right? 0.21's in the middle of it, right? That's how they work, 95% confidence intervals. If 0 is between one confidence interval and another, we don't have mediation. That's one way to quickly tell if you actually have mediation. If the indirect effect of X on Y, right, if the confidence intervals include 0, you don't have mediation occurring within this model. It means that yes, you can talk all day about the numbers and the outcomes, but this should always never have 0 in the middle or between these two confidence intervals. If it crosses 0, it generally means that there's some other factor at play here, something's going on. But we can't say that we have a mediator, okay?
Can you change that moderation to mediation header? Again, only because it keeps throwing me off. How convenient. And when you say it doesn't cross 0, is that, what do you mean? What do you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, so this number is 0.015. This number is 0.026.
Right.
If this was 0.015 and this was negative 0.26, that would mean that 0 would be somewhere between those two.
Okay, I got you. I kind of thought that's what you meant, but I was 100% sure. Okay.
And you're finding
And
the
let's
confidence intervals is in here?
Right here. Yeah, the red
Oh,
box.
I'm so
You see the red
sorry.
line?
Oh, yeah. I see that now.
Red line, everything in
Gotcha.
red. Now let's think about what this means, y'all. The indirect effect of x on y, if 0 is in that confidence interval, it means there's 0 effect. Because 0.205 is between 0.154 and 0.265. And if 0 falls anywhere in between that 95% confidence interval, means there is a chance that the effect is 0. Make sense? And if the effect is 0, we don't have a mediator. Hey, Kara, you've been trying. I won't shut up.
No, you're fine. Is it only in that specific confidence interval range or any of the confidence interval ranges?
Yeah, no, it's in this one.
Okay.
It's in this one. Indirect effect of x on y. Yeah, this is the one you should look for. Okay. Now, we also want to account. This is the effect size piece of this, right? We talk about effect sizes. We also want to account for what type of effect the mediator has, and the mediator should account for some of the total effect, right? The total effect of the model itself is the total effect of x on y, right? 0.4698. I'll say that right here. Remember the 0.47 previously? Same thing. I just rounded it, right? The total effect of x on y, right, is the total effect of the model. In order to measure the percent of what the mediator accounts for, you just take the indirect effect of x on y over here, right? At this point where it went, right, 0.205, right? You divide, remember I told you all earlier, there's one manual calculation you have to do. This is it. Divide 0.205 by 0.4698. And guess what you find out? 44% of essentially the effect is accounted for by anybody remember what we're measuring anymore? Health-related behaviors. So if we just assume that conscientious personality was the main predictor of physical health, we'd be wrong, right? We would have this underlying variable that really accounts for 44% of the variance. Make sense?
I feel like my head's about to explode, to be honest.
Good. Yeah, we're about to take a break and let you work through an example.
Okay.
Kara still with us?
No, she left. She was just completely overcome, apparently.
I have, actually. All right. And now it's time for Eric to put it in layman's terms, right? Good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing predicts everything about something else, right? We know that there are always a lot of factors at play, right? Let's talk about the weather. Talk about the weather. A high level of humidity may influence moisture in the air to actually come down as rain, right? But there's a lot of other factors at play, right? There is the jet stream, there's the wind, there's temperature, all these things, right? We can't just predict whether or not it's going to rain based on what the humidity levels are. And so mediation and moderation both help us to dig a little bit deeper into the true relationship between variables, as well as the effect of one variable on the relationship between other variables. Mediation first and moderation in that example. This is a little bit more technical. The output is not nearly as simple, right, as probably y'all might like to see. But if you just map it out, right? If you map it out, you make your notes, what to look for, you will find it, and it will make sense, okay? So this week's exercise on moderation is about faculty salaries. Faculty salaries. Everybody likes to talk about money, right? So you're going to use the same example that we're using in moderation. Let me do this for Chris, he yells at me. You're going to use the same data file to do a mediation example tonight, okay? Okay, so you've already got that data file downloaded, right? So the question here is, does age mediate the relationship between tenure status and faculty salary? Does everybody know what tenure status means?
Yes. How long you been there? Working there?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Tenure itself assumes length of time, right? My tenure with the system has been 2.5 years. But tenure is actually a classification of privileges and rights that faculty have. Generally, it protects their jobs during economic downturns, like the one that I'm working through right now with one of our campuses, right? In normal times, we can't fire tenured faculty. We can't terminate them without cause at all. And it's difficult to fire them even with cause sometimes. But generally, they get academic freedom protections. It comes with a lot of stuff, and mostly it's a prestige thing too, that faculty put in like 5 to 7 years of effort to build up their repertoire and in order to have a more permanent position at the institution. Generally, if faculty do not receive a tenure designation, they may be on an improvement plan or they may be on an exit plan because the institution wants to maintain, tenure level faculty as much as possible. So tenured status is actually 3 categories. Not on tenure track, which are instructors like me. I'm not on tenure track. I can be let go for joking around with y'all about April Fools. I'm joking. But not on tenure track. Tenure track, which means they've been hired into a tenure track position, but they haven't yet been awarded tenure, right? It means they're working towards it. And then tenured, those that have achieved that status. So there's 3 variables. And the way it typically works, let me go ahead and tell you, the values in the data set are 1, 2, and 3. 1, no, Mamta, the file I put on Canvas is the one I'm talking about now. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask
sorry.
the same question.
Yeah, it's lab assignment 4. It should be out there. That's one I emailed y'all about yesterday or so, right? All right. So the way tenure status works, I'll I'll put this up for everybody to see. 1 second. Tenured is 1, tenured track, 2, not tenured track is 3. So what does that mean? Generally, tenure status predicts salary, right? I wouldn't be giving you this exercise if it didn't. However, it's a negative relationship because the values are 1, 2, and 3 for tenure, which means as tenure status goes up, salaries actually go down. Make sense? So when you run this data and you get a bunch of negative numbers, don't freak out. Okay? Okay. Hey, Felon, friend. Is that Kara? Is that a dog or a cat tonight?
Oh, this is Zelda.
Hey.
Or Wombat Kitty.
Hey. Thank you for making an appearance. Spin wanted to come in here with me tonight, but I shut him out. All right. So again, as tenure values go up, salaries go down. Okay. Because generally with tenure comes promotion, and with promotion comes salary increases. So what about age though? Is age a mediation? Does age mediate faculty salary based on tenure status? Well, let's think about this. We are having to hire more and more people to replace retiring professors nationwide, right? Have y'all ever heard of a term called salary compression?
No.
Let me give you a quick. Kara has. Kara, you just talk for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I can remember. It's where the like new hires coming in have a higher salary than new hires that used to come in, and so the amount of like wiggle room you have to create a salary for somebody gets smaller and smaller and smaller within the specific range, something along those lines.
Kind of, yeah. So my example is, and I'll just use Wendy and me as an example. Let's just say her and I both were full-time, tenured. She's tenured, I'm tenure track, right? Well, let's just say she got hired like 10 years ago and was hired at $50,000. Well, when she got tenure, they raised her salary to 60, right? Right? And she's basically been making 60 for the last 5 years. Well, I get hired today, and because of the job market and everything else, and overwhelmingly like inflation, right? I think we can all agree on that. I come in and I'm making, I mean, they can't hire somebody without going up to $65,000 or $70,000. So, all that to say, tenure status typically predicts faculty salary, but maybe I'm 20 years younger than Wendy, right? Maybe my age, along with my tenure status, predicts faculty salary, but not in the way that we might initially think, right? So, here's the deal. Everybody got that data file now? Let me show it to you real quick for you. One thing to mention, you have it in SPSS, correct? I sent it. I posted it like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not in Excel. Okay.
Right.
What's that? Okay. Anyway, I gave it to you in SPSS. Make sure that the values that you're going to use in the model are numeric. Okay. Make sure they're numeric. I'm pretty sure they all came in a string, except for like age. But make sure tenure is numeric. Make sure discipline's numeric. Okay. Makes sense? Cool. So, oops, hold on, let's do this. Do you want me to open the?
What is
Workroom?
CIP again?
What is the what? Bless you.
Thank you. Oh, shoot, I thought did I have it on mute?
You said what is the what again?
CIP. I was going through the ones that string,
Yeah, I can
salary,
explain the whole class. So let's do that.
string.
This is real data. It's been anonymized and mixed up a lot, but yeah, CIP. Okay, CIP is the classification of instructional programs. So, Chris, you teach business. You have a CIP code of 52. Tara teaches yoga. She has a CIP code of 31 for Parks and Rec. Jody teaches higher education, so she has a CIP code of 13. And Mamta teaches physics, so she has a CIP code of 40. So the CIP code is the discipline that they teach. So notice over here, look, there's a 52 right there. There's 13, right? 50 is health. But what I've done is I've recoded these into disciplines. So you can actually see the discipline is, I'll just pull it out here. There we go. One is STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math, right? Arts and humanities, education, business, and health. Make sense?
Yep.
So the SIP drives your discipline. Percent instruction is how much of their full-time job they teach. Load is how many hours they teach. And then, tenure. Rank is professor, assistant professor, associate professor, instructor. Age, you don't need to worry about. You know what that is. Term day. Oh, whether or not they have a terminal degree. That's what that one is. Like a doctorate, right? So yeah, you don't need all the, and race and race through code. You don't need all of these by any means, right? All you need is tenure status, age, and faculty salary. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How long do you need?
We're gonna run through the same thing that you did before and then have to put it in the output, right?
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, oops, don't look, there you go. I'm going to give you, of course, the chart or the model that you've already seen here, right? We'll fill those in, and then we're gonna fill in this screen. So yeah, both of these. So you'll have fill in the blanks here.
Maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Is that ambitious,
hey,
everybody?
Yeah. Why don't I do something like this? Why don't we look at the time first? Because I have no idea what time it is. Why don't we do 30 minutes? Is that okay with y'all? Or wait, no, gosh, no. We're almost done with class, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
What time does class end? Oh, gosh. Okay. 15 minutes. I will keep the screen here for 10 minutes. And then I'll move it over to here for 5 minutes. Sound good? So y'all can see
Okay.
everything? Okay. And just let me know if you're ready for me to move my screen from here. As soon as you're ready, y'all just tell me, okay? Deal?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it'll start to sink in when we get going. I just got to do
Don't
it.
forget model number 4.
Yep. Okay.